So now, again, house is now gone. We now move to the burbs, but again, we're renting this house, you know, in the suburbs, and you know, and literally, my mother was in England, sending probably like 4/5 of her salary to us, and all that did was allow for us to cover specific things. You know, luckily for me, you know, I had a bursary at school. Like for most of my life, I didn't have to pay for school. But again, people think, oh yeah, because you know you're smart. I'm like, besides smart, I knew what the situation was at home. Being the last born, you know, you sit in a position of just observing, because no one comes to me to explain, yo, listen, we don't have money. You just observe and you make sense of it all. And that just meant, dude, apply yourself more here, because then you can, every time bills are mentioned, you're not one of them, you know? And that's what it was. Like, and I even mentioned it in the album that I learned my hustle from my mother, you know, who, Birmingham wasn't a dream job. It was this or else.
This or that, yeah.
What else is there, you know? And
as a mother, I mean, like, how many 3 kids?
3 of us.
As a mother, a lot of people don't. Mother leaving her kids, that's hard.
That's extremely hard, you know. Lucky, I think like a couple years later, my brother went to Birmingham as well. I think, and even then, primarily because I think my mother needed that support. My mother was not like living okay that side, but there wasn't an alternative. That's the point here. And I think as soon as
shout out to your mother.
Shout out Emily Langer, man.
Yeah.
That is like my, like I said, she is my example of hustle, and as a result, it's very hard to, in my mind, it's very hard to out hustle. And I only and again, that's not from results, to be like, you see how much I've made now from the hustle, versus I just don't stop.
You know how to strategically place yourself.
That's the thing.
To be,
and
not where everyone expects you to be.
And it's never about the immediate gratification. That's why I'm like, when people are nervous with me, I'm like, chill, dude. I'm built for this. I have the legs for this, dog. I have the legs for this marathon. I've learned this about myself. Don't stress about it. And in the end, we win. That's all you need to understand. And that's also now tying it back to, that's the metaphor of the album and the airport, you know, because that's the theme of the album, where you go to the airport. Listen, even if the flight's delayed, it's guaranteed, dude, you're flying out. Chill. You might not know how long that wait is, but you're definitely gone. Don't stress about that. And I think it was also important for me to relay that message to everybody. Don't stress about, just support. That's all you need to do. That's your only job. You don't need to support and be so concerned that, yo, dude, what if this guy's never heard?
Don't support with fear.
Don't. It's unnecessary. It slows us down.
Some pretty heavy drills.
It's heavy, no?
Yo, I mean, that's a lot of wisdom. I mean, what I'm picking from you is that struggle is real. You know? A lot of sacrifice. Okay, there's a lot of sacrifice, but through it all, you are like, yo, I'm gonna keep my head up. And that's amazing. That's a lot of people don't have that. You know, the raps would be about struggle, but I mean, obviously, you can't expect people also to think that you struggle, because no one knows about you. All of a sudden, they're out there and say, "Jola no dinero," you know. So already niggas is thinking like, I must live with Jola na cheese. I mean, how do you even meet her? How did that even happen?
We met through a mutual friend, Leroy and Dunn, and he was just under the impression that we'd be a good fit. So for real,
was he match?
That's literally how it happened. Like he called me out for lunch. He was like, yo, let's meet in Rosebank. She happened to be there. Like, oh shit, that's that girl from that show, I think.
Yeah. Oh, she was already on TV by then.
Yeah, she was. I think she had just gotten back from the States from shooting O Axis, O Axis show. Right? So that's when I met her, and yeah, it was.
How many years though?
So January we're 5 years in.
So that's a key thing when you I mean, I listened to I think it must have been Jubilee this morning, right?
Yeah.
And you talk something about loyalty, you know.
Yeah.
What like now I can see that you like, listen, I'm grounded and I know the plan.
Yep.
And the only way you can stick with me is if you're loyal. So do you feel that like if a cat can't believe, he won't stick with you? So do you feel that immediately when that happens to you, you reciprocate it also? Is it a conscious thing of you reciprocating it? Because even now you told me that a lot of people are worried, but I know how to strategically hustle myself through. But you can only believe me if you're loyal.
Now you know what? So where the difference comes in is that I don't throw my expectancy onto the next man. A lot of people.
No, I'm just saying do you reciprocate with regards to you, just like feeling like what the people that you have around you.
Oh, listen, yeah, the people around me, and that's why it's still a small circle. That's why it's, even with like Better Gang, with the Dream Catchers, with my band and whatever, we're 3 years in working, and still the same clique, and all I've done is just kind of expanded with them. The truth is, like I said, there isn't time to keep questioning whether or not things work. It's the wrong way to attract things. It's I'm speaking to someone who understands attraction. You understand these laws. So it's very much it's not to say that things don't make our foundation shaky quite often, but the truth is we can't dwell on that stuff. That for us that's not where we live. So if for whatever reason you've kind of slept on the idea of solo being able to be at a certain place, that's fine, just don't bring that energy here. That's our only ask, like keep it there, because we're on this big mission, and we're not trying to slow it down. And also what I've learned is that people turn around and catch up, and and you let those people in any case, because it wasn't your job to believe in me. Otherwise you have to believe in every single rapper who's like, yo man, I'm dope, trust me. People often need to see some kind of sign, and that's cool. But we work from a place of, even in silence, we're working hard. We work as if we are the guys at the top, and everybody is watching, and we can't make a mistake. We've always worked that way.
That's amazing.
More jewels.
More jewels, man. I just hope cats are catching these jewels, man.
Man.
I'm always dropping the jewels, but it's great
Listen, when
someone else comes
I'm here
through.
now. You're welcome.
But you know what it is, though? I love this. Is why I wanted to speak to you, because everything you're saying is captured in your album.
Yes, it is.
I told you I listened to your album. It was at night. I was just like, it was actually the night of the launch. So I was like, yo, because I'm gonna speak to him. Should I go? But and then I got FOMO. Then I said, hell, let me just listen to the album, right? Yeah. And I listened to the album. I tell you, I was telling you about a song that I played where your father comes in and speaks.
Let me open this. Yep.
And
Not Vogue.
Pardon?
It's called Not Vogue.
Not Vogue. I was like, by the time the album got there, man, I was like, I believe.
Yeah.
Because I'll talk about it you got bench warmers where literally, for me, comes across like, yo, the bench warmer basically has been warming the bench, but what was that? Yeah, you talk about just you don't want to be perceived as that, but you actually going to win no matter what, no matter how the perception is. You know what I mean? And that and I get that. So I hear that, and then I get how cool is this love, which is about the crew, and that literally that takes me on. Okay, there's determination, there's a bond. Now this is the foundation, right, of people, right?
Yep.
And then over time they're like, yo, we keep working,
For sure.
And then 30,000 feet is like, yo, listen, I'm giving you the track list of the album and just giving you the story. 30,000 feet is literally like, this is okay. It's all that shit, but it's got fucking skill.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then you get into Stripes. I don't really remember what that was about.
So Stripes is the one with Books.
Yeah. I don't remember what's that about. And then Poster Child, that was pretty dope, because you've got a quotable there that actually has to be like a generational quotable, about how the autograph, the photo.
Selfie killed the autograph before I blew up.
I love that.
And that's the thing.
Listen, you know what I mean. It's like, yo, I should be signing this autograph. The selfie done killed it before.
And like from
That's
when I was a
almost like
beginning, that was my dream,
Yeah,
dog. I was almost in that time frame where
Wow.
like that happens, but
I mean, like, for you to even think that, you know, like I was asking myself, like, yo, man, that's some crazy shit. Like, yeah,
that's what it is now.
open it up for me, Maji. You know, I mean, and then, you know, I mean, I like I don't remember what First Draft is about. That I do remember Ball and Chain stood out because for me that was like a single. You know, that's definitely a single. I don't know if
shout
I
out
said
to
it.
Lee Million. Yeah, definitely.
Yo, that's a single without a doubt. You know, look, One Way. I caught up with One Way. That. I want you to explain One Way because we've been talking about like don't doubt where you're going. The flight is coming. So I want you to explain One Way because I want Cass to hear just the theme behind it.
So One Way Ticket, right, is really about. So if you pick up, especially just before you get to that part of the album, it really speaks about the selflessness of, you know, my team first, crew first, and we're here now unapologetically. You get to One Way Ticket, and what that talks about is, in contrast to everything else, it's more of the selfish element that becomes necessary to make these specific things happen. So, you know, obviously when you purchase a one-way ticket, the idea behind that is I'm going that side and I'm there. You know, like the mission is just to get there. It's not necessarily there and back. I'm getting that side because I have to be that side to make things happen specifically.
The flight is going to happen.
It's going one way. I'm not promising you that I'm coming back to you. You know, and that for me is such a, you know, it's a very daunting thing because, you know, it almost is the necessary thing just in terms of following your dreams. There is an element of selfishness that has to happen.
That's what I want. That's what you said. So that's what I wanted to say. That element of selfishness to get your dream.
Yeah.
It's one way. That's what. Yo.
Man, and
I tell people if you want to give, you gotta be selfish.
How else?
You know, you will not give unless you are selfish, because your selfishness, I always go, so, you know, you got, if the stars could look down, if they were people, maybe they are, they probably all this development in the world. They see the lights, they see the cars, things that have never existed before. Imagine the stars looking down, the way we look up to the stars and they go, wow, you know, what energies are building these bricks and these, because someone created a brick and that brick literally became a house, and that house became electricity, and that electricity became water, and then someone literally created paving, and that paving became a road, and that road became a car. But this is the evolution of like ideas that are owned by individuals.
Absolutely.
And those individuals literally, and if you're a star, you're looking up, they're going, damn, you know, the energy on the ground is inspiring. But imagine if, like, we look up at the stars, we go, yo, I clear my mind, like everything else. So you can imagine our energy, based on how we use it, becomes inspiring if we invest it like now. If you invest in what you really need to be, your one way, your selfishness will open the door for men.
Absolutely, man. And that's what it is, right? Like you can't necessarily help people if you're in the same position as those people. You know, selfishly.
Y'all can relate, but y'all can't help.
Yeah, that's the thing. Where like we're here together.
Yeah.
And we have that. That's our joint sentiment.
Yeah.
But if one of us doesn't go out there, how am I even pulling you to that side?
We're stuck in a boat, but you trying to help, and we trying to get bananas on land.
But we're all here
we
on
both,
this one boat, you know. And I think, and that's why I said to you, dude, like, for me, listen, I know how to articulate myself. I can do it in interviews. I can do it like in writing. I can do it in all these things. In a whole album is where I best do it. Even at the launch, man, when we had the Q&A session, Black Les was like, he asked the question, why is it that during my performance I didn't stop and like have a conversation with everybody? And I was like, because the way that I've designed the music, I shouldn't have to explain anything. That's how I designed it, right? It speaks in that space, and it speaks even in like isolated songs. You know, like you can't listen to Ball and Chain or One Way Ticket or Jubilee no Likamon and not get a sense or a picture painted. You know, the whole story though lies in this embedded theme.
Tell me, I mean, you're obviously a product of your mother. Like you said, the hustle you get from your mother. Shout out to your father,
Yeah.
You ain't like sleeping on him.
Nah, not really.
Tell me about Jubilee in the Ligamo. That's, for me, like, it's like, I feel you, man. You're like, you like, your heart is speaking there, And I want to wrap it up because I think, for me, Jubilee and Noligamo literally is the cornerstone of this product, of this album. And you cannot talk about albums like this nowadays. Like, that song, literally, like, for me, goes, this is why this guy has this story. I feel.
The project leads up to that point.
But even if it leads up to that point, I'm looking at it back as
retrospectively.
That song literally is what made this person to have this story.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
At the
absolutely
end.
right. So, Jubilee Ligamo is, I guess, like, to explain it very briefly and like from a place so everyone understands. It's I'm speaking to my late grandmother. Her name was Jubilee, and my late cousin, whose name was Langa Baloy, and his nickname was Ligamo in the family. And Langa passed away at the age of 17, right? And he was a year older than me. So in the family, it was always like it was the two of us. We were treated like the twins. Mind you, Langa was such a contrast of me. I was like this small, very skinny child. He was like this very big kid. Like, we were just like almost like a comedy team, just like shoulder to shoulder. And he passed away at the age of 17. And that was probably like my first real loss. Now, I understand, as a kid growing up, I'd lost family, obviously, but this was the first time someone that close was ripped from me, or at least that's what it felt like, right? And Jubilee Ligamo is a grown-up conversation that I'm having with my grandmother and late cousins. The way I'd have the conversation now, today, if they were around. I speak to, the space that I'm in currently in music, why I'm doing this, who's around me, what my little conflicts are. The way that I imagine I'd have the conversations with my grandmother and the grown-up Langa, who would, be 29 now. This is how we communicate, I imagine. And I think the reason why it was important, so even like when putting out like a single just before the album dropped, I was so certain that it was going to be Jubilee Ligamo. And understand, man, I understand the climate of music right now locally. And I get why it doesn't live in what's currently going on in this climate. But the truth of the matter is that, one, right? Two, point out someone who can't relate. You know what I mean? Someone who can't relate to the story of loss and love. That's everybody, and that's got nothing to do with race, region, anything. It holds true, and I think, dude, I can safely say to you that I've never had a response like this from a first listens perspective, from my whole catalog of music. This, even at the launch, dude, like, it was a moment. Like, when we performed that song, for people hearing it for the first time, there are people who came to the launch for that song specifically. I can tell you that right now.
Yo, radio, television.
Yo, man.
I don't want to be like catching up.
Trust me, not with this one. Man.
This song is
not with this one.
It's real.
It's way too special.
You know what I mean?
And and that's the song, and I think it was the perfect segue to DreamsBPlenty. Now that you've heard that, go get the album. And even like when we launched on iTunes, I mean, we, outside of fucking Mac Miller, we were sitting right behind him, and again, man, like the reception, a lot of it was based on that track. A lot of it was,
it's your truth.
It's the truth. That's exactly what it is.
And you win with your truth. You're strategically winning with your truth, and you're strategically growing. You can see where you were yesterday. You see where you are today.
Yeah.
It's your growth. It's got nothing to do with the industry.
Nah,
man. Yo, we out here, DreamsBPlenty, the homeboy solo. All I wanted to do is just get him here so he can talk about this album. I think this is really a defining album, in our times, from the storytelling, the lyrics. It's relatable, it's youthful.
Yeah.
It's not like hella deep, like, you know, it's got everything, you know what I mean?
We tried our best to balance it right, get the concept out, and it was a lot of work, man. Like,
I feel like it.
yeah, absolutely. I think, and that's why I'm so confident and so happy. I'm in a very, very happy space, but at the same time, unapologetically, I'm about to fight to make it so accessible, because everybody needs to hear this album, you know. That's why I'm like, yo, I'm not waiting for Musica to be like, okay, give me 3 copies, nyana. Bettergang.co.za, order a copy, we'll get it to you.
Yes, sir.
No excuses this time around.
Yes, sir. Yo, I'm saying, support the hustle, support the innovation, change your way of thinking. These guys aren't selling music the way it's sold, they're doing it themselves. This is the future. I believe in what you guys are doing. You know this. I've been saying that. I believe in what you guys are doing. Not only just the music and the thinking behind it. For me, what you guys are doing will actually, in my opinion, incubate so many more artists as you build up a base.
Yeah.
You're building a digital recording label. I don't know whether you know that, because you are building a base that's going to be ready whenever you drop. You go, this is what we're dropping. They're going to say, okay, it's on the bit again. We're going to. That's what you need to do. You need to start writing more, even on the platform, even if, because you're going another direction.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so much that, like, we even, like, dude, we use Slick on Life as a case study, as a squad when we're sitting, and we're just like, listen, man, there's so many elements that we can, just ideas that we can take here and expand, that allows this platform to really live and turn into something, you know. Obviously, with, like, even with DreamsBPlenty and with We Need a Title, a lot of these things were, you know, testing the waters to see what works and what doesn't. But we'll just keep expanding, man.
Be out here with the homeboy Solo. Make sure you get that album, DreamsBPlenty. Go to www.bettergang.co.za. Order it, they'll deliver it. Go to iTunes, it's there. Any digital platform. We got it on the site. You're going to watch this interview. Please make sure you listen to the music, right? Yeah.
One. Please, man. Thank you, sir.
That's one.